And you know, and you know, and you know.
Go.
Let's go, TTMT.
King D Money, let's go. The new
That's
year,
right.
bro.
2025, new year, new pod, new guests, baby.
New
It's
guest.
going real fast, so we're gonna go straight into it, man. You ready for this? You ready for this, TTMT?
I'm ready. Get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it. First of all, father, husband, king, my
Entrepreneur.
God, Will, entrepreneur, businessman, Wilmayer, Marcelin, everybody.
Let's go.
Big sounds, yeah, all that edited sounds. So, pop. So. What is going on, Dirk?
Yes.
What we doing, man? What we talking about, TTMT?
Talking about the music, man. So,
The music.
Will, musician, man, tell us about your musical journey, man. Very briefly.
Wow. That's
Sum it up
briefly.
quickly.
Okay, well, I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna try. I started playing music. Well, I got into music from my father. My father had a gospel group, and he first got me on piano when I was 10. At 13, my uncle told me that I should start, I should play an instrument that nobody else in the family plays. And he said I should play the sax. So I picked up the saxophone. From 13 till 39, I've been playing the sax. In 2009, 2010, my father got sick. I was pretty much the only person that knew the true extent of what type of ailments he was, that he had. So in honor of my father, I was like, I'm going to learn the guitar. So I picked up the guitar at about 2009, 2010. And yeah, so that's what I do.
So let me ask you the question. How old were you when you picked up the guitar?
I was, 2010. Well, 2015, I would have been 30. So I was 25, I believe, 25, 26.
Wow, it's late, man, to pick up a guitar, because guitar is really hard to pick up on the fingers and to get any speed.
I was driven. I didn't know how long my dad was going to be there for. And I wanted to, my whole goal was to play with him. And the thing with him was that, that was just something I just felt like I needed to do. So I was coming home, and I would practice like 8 or 9 hours at night.
Wow.
And then I would literally come home like 10 o'clock at night from a gig or whatever, from work. And I would practice until the sun came up, and then I'll go to work again. I did that.
Were you married at this time?
Huh?
You married at this time?
No, but I was living in sin.
Saying, what are you doing this? I mean, I don't know what wife is letting you do all this stuff.
You'll be surprised. You know what? And that's why I ended up marrying her. She would just go to sleep. I found ways to practice with headphones. Once I found out about pedals, I plugged into the pedal itself, the pedal board, and I would just be practicing, watching cartoons. Then I joined a band. Maybe I think around 2009. I was the horn section leader, and the guy that controlled the band, he played guitar, so he was giving me some stuff. He was giving me, like, taught me bar chords, and he would make fun of my guitars and call it a box guitar, and just fueled me. It was just fuel. Then there was a trumpet player that I was making fun of, just trumpet and the trombone player that I used to make fun of the first guitar that I bought, and that would fuel it. I just had a lot of energy to learn that instrument.
I can imagine.
A lot of it was a lot of motivation. So from 2009 to 2011, by 2011, I think I was already playing for the band. I think I was the lead guitar player then. By that time, I think we lost like 2 or 3 guitar players that quit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by 2011, 2012, I was the guy that was playing guitar, and that helped me a lot too. So I was playing for a gospel group that really helped me out as well.
I always find that, like,
what was that?
That there's a lot of guys who play guitar that are well-known guitar players, were sax players before, like Norman Brown. There's a couple other guitar players that actually played sax before they played guitar.
I didn't know Norman Brown played sax. Wow.
Yeah.
I learned something new. Yeah. Usually guitar players are weird. They're very weird people. My dad, like, guitar players see the world differently. I've never met a guitar player that was regular. All guitar players have a quirk or some type of quirk because I don't know, it's something about 6 strings. And it's just
the math that goes involved, the math that's involved in it too.
Yeah.
The analytics of it. It's really math.
It's math. It's also, guitar is a very weird instrument because, like the saxophone, you already know you're always gonna either be on top or you're gonna be some type of background instrument. Piano, that you're the background, you're basically the foundation after the drums, of course. Bass, you're the foundation. So guitar is right in the middle of the sandwich. It's like lettuce and tomatoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes people don't realize, like, I don't really need this. But when it's all together with it, it tastes so good. So it just makes you a very weird thinking person because guitar players can't play the bass. It annoys the bass player and the piano player. You can't play the very top because it annoys the sax players and the singers. So you got to find little holes to plug and play, So yeah, but I didn't know Norman Brown was a guitar player. Mostly guitar players are usually singers.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of singers as guitar players who happen to be weird. If you think about it,
you have to be weird.
A little weird.
The best singers are very weird.
Weird people. They are. They can
be. Very weird people. Y'all seen that Luther Vandross
the Luther Vandross special?
Yeah, like he was weird.
Really? Wow. I didn't see the special. What was it? What was going on?
No, just the way he thought. Like, the thing that they really discuss about his life was just the fact that how could somebody write such loving R&B music, soulful R&B music, but never experienced love?
It's wild, right?
He's never been in a relationship.
Like the rose that grew out of concrete, right?
Yeah, he died. They literally said, his family said he died a lonely man. Think about it.
Like, he was probably dealing with alternative lifestyle, and that time it wasn't really cool to come out like that.
Not necessarily, because even with that, even if he did live an alternative lifestyle, and some people that were closer to him said that he liked that lifestyle, but he never indulged in it because he was always so busy. So even if you were living in that alternative lifestyle, it's like you're still living in a box.
True. But as musicians, we can emulate somebody, and we could actually envision what we want it to feel, what we feel like. Because some people are like in love with love. Some women, they just in love. Their whole life is like a love story. or a movie, and they act like they're in that.
However,
What do we call those women? Delusional.
delusional.
They're weird.
Weird. Just a
They're
little
weird, right?
Thank
You
you.
have to literally go crazy.
True, and it's possible. Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Big,
And I
big
think that's what basically happened to him. They're like he could not keep friends. He had a big mansion. He lived alone.
Wow.
Like, yeah, his life was really sad. Like the way they were, and the way that he coped with it was he just ate. He ate. Like, he lost weight. He lost like 160 pounds, and then 3 months later, he gained like 180 pounds because he lived by himself, and the only way he could deal with the pain of not having somebody with him was by eating. So,
Yeah.
But dog, can you imagine going from background singer, everybody knows you the best at what you do, to like your first single is Never Too Much.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom.
Yeah.
It had to be instant, bro.
Yeah.
Like Never Too Much, like a barbecue staple right now, bro. This is like you can't go without too many parties without hearing Never Too Much, bro.
He did. I think on that same Never Too Much album, Bad Boys was on that. Like every hit song that when we think of Luther was on that.
Yeah.
And then you go out, you do something like that, Never Too Much, and then you go back maybe 10 years later and you do something with Mariah Carey.
Wow.
Like they did a cover of Endless Love.
Wow.
Like, stuff like that, virtually just took somebody else's song and just nobody even knows who made the first version of Endless Love.
Man,
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and it was a big popular song. I don't remember.
Of course, because
the original
he made the
Endless
song
Love
as if it was his own.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that?
He made the song as if it was his own. There's some artists, their impression is so strong that they make the song. You forget whoever did it originally because their impression is so strong. Their personality just lays on the song. You don't even remember who else sung it before.
That song he did, A House Is Not a Home. He didn't do that. That's somebody else's song too.
Yeah.
Which is wild because you don't know that.
But nobody knows it. Nobody knows they only know Luther's version now. Like he took it over. Yeah. And then they were showing how he was clashing with Aretha Franklin and like he was a diva, man. All of the great women singers of our time from that time period, he had an issue with. He had an issue with what's her name? Who's the one that made "Caught in the Rapture of Love"? He had beef with her.
Baker?
He had beef with Anita Baker. Like they couldn't stand each other. He had problems with Aretha because Aretha. He tried to. He was working on Aretha Franklin's album, and he was like, "You should sing it like this." Like he's a background singer is teaching the main.
You know what? I saw an excerpt with him singing like between either him and Aretha or somebody else or Whitney Houston, and they tried to outdo him, and he took it like it was his turn, and he took it all the way up there. And I
think it was Whitney, yeah.
Yeah, he took it up there because he could sing. He was letting them know, like, hey,
I don't play it. But the thing about him was, he only had beef with women.
Of course.
I mean, it wasn't a lot of male voices touching his voice at that time.
True. No one could really touch him either. And What's Called didn't come along until later. Like, what is it? What's the guy?
Johnny Gill.
Either Johnny
Gill was around there.
He was around that time.
But Johnny Gill was a different type of. He was a whole nother type of R&B. He was
always getting in trouble all the time with his kids. He could sing
Bobby
really
Brown.
good.
Bobby Brown?
No, he's a solo singer. Brian
McKnight.
What's his name? Brian McKnight. Yeah.
Bro, you
That's the
jumped
only
into
person.
the 90s already. Like,
Yeah. Now
I
you
thought
going, yeah, you going into
we
early
was in the
2000s.
80s. You even jumped
That's
into
what
the
I'm saying.
thousands. But there's so many other great voices, bro. We got like Gerald Levert. We got,
True.
Keith
Yeah,
Sweat.
that was his time.
We got,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's him coming out of that. Brian McKnight came sort of kind of, and
Like
then,
later on, right?
but like individual voices, yeah. But then we had Boyz II Men. That's the
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
of stuff that he was competing with. Like them type of record sales was the stuff he was.
I never, to him, I never thought, or I don't think he ever felt like they were comp.
I,
Like,
they
I
were
don't think he felt like the people he was calling out, ironically, though, were like that, what we would call the heavy hitter
True.
women. Like
yeah.
the
Yeah.
best singers in the world. Whitney, Anita
Yeah.
Baker.
But
Like,
I mean, most background vocalists are women. He's gonna be in between two women his entire life.
yeah, that's true.
And then he didn't really. Who actually pushed him was Patti LaBelle because he liked actually, even though he became a
They were
star.
like best friends. Yeah.
Yeah, because he would do background singing just because he liked doing that, even though he was a star. He used to be like a computer engineer or a computer tech, and he was just doing it, for fun for a period of time.
That's wild.
And
He
then
was also he was from what, well, then again, I mean, this is based off of a biopic, I guess. So, but they were saying that he really didn't like his weight. So
of course,
he would be
self-image.
doing all their tours and he'll be in the back with a mic, like in the back room, while the other background singers are on the stage. Like, he didn't even want people to see him.
That's wild because I
That's
just watched
a
the
big
post.
problem nowadays. Perception of who you are.
Yeah.
Talk about that as a musician, man. Like, I remember you talked about one thing that you talked about insights and perception of who you are. Like you say, you really didn't care how people view you. How do you view yourself?
Well, yeah. I don't know, man. I think I was playing the guitar matched me well because I really never cared. I never cared about. I never cared about how people like my sound or whatever. I was always that guy that was just searching for their own path. Even in high school, I got in trouble a lot because of that. Because I went to a high school that wasn't necessarily a jazz high school. It was more known for our concert band in high school. And I was that guy that just didn't care. They would have been like, play this straight, and I'll throw some vibrato and glissandos in it. That was me. Like, playing Rosa Medri, how I felt that it should have sounded with that instrument. I wanted my saxophone to sound like a human voice. I wanted it to sound like Whitney, who I would try to imitate her vibrate, how she sung, or her vibrato. And I felt like that's how that saxophone should sound like that everywhere, no matter what the genre, whether it be concert music or I didn't care. And they had a problem with that. Like, it was like, you can't do that, and they tried to, like, stop the vibrato, or they'll make me play French horn parts that, doesn't have all the soloing and all that other stuff, because I just like whatever sound that I like, that's what I go with. And I never really cared how people felt about that. I was like, it sounds good to me, so it sounds good.
That's crazy, man. Well, it's like, it's crazy for me because I always been like, oh crap, I gotta follow the rules. Like, I gotta follow the rules. I gotta follow the rules, and that's been like a big part of my life at the same time. But talking about big parts of life, being a musician, also a husband and a father, we all have a little something in common on this call. Talking about dads and whatnot. what lesson do you think your dad would have taught your boys if he was still here?
Man, so much. Um,
Well, give us.
dad had so many different life lessons. Like this man just was just a walking book of proverbs.
Mm.
That's what he was. Every single thing was a lesson, and to a point that when I was a teenager, it used to irk me. It was just annoying. Like, well, I don't want to hear this. Like, I knew it was a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was a time that I tried my best. Like I think I wanted him to buy me some Jordans or whatever. And he used that as a life lesson. He was like, you know what, extend your arm as far as you can.
Mm.
And then I extended it. He said, you see that? You see how far your arm is? I was like, yes. He was like, if you can't reach past your arm, don't go for it. And I'm like, what does that have to do with these Jordans I'm trying to buy? Can you buy the shoes? He was like, no. He was like, right now, how much money do you have? I was like, I got $50 that I raised up. I'm talking about saved up, cleaned the house, washing cars, everything. All I needed him to do was, I think it was like, all I needed was like probably another 100. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you know what? You got $50? He was like, extend your hand with the $50. He said, see, now anything around that $50 range, you can get it. Like, but if it's past the $50 range,
I hate that lesson already. I'll be annoyed.
He was showing me, but I mean, he was teaching me, and I found out later on in life that one of the best lessons you can do: live within your means.
You know, it's so funny you should say that, because I was listening to a podcast, and this girl was mad at her mother because she was a judge of the whole city, and she was always busy doing stuff. And she said she didn't teach her what to do in life. She showed her how she lived her life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or how to live life. You know, and that's very important. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. My dad, if you saw my dad, I don't think he wore designer clothes ever in his life. Mm-hmm. His suits were probably 15, 20 years old. He didn't care. Like, my mom would buy it for him, and he rocked those suits till he died. Like, yeah. And then my mom passed them all to me, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Like, I can't even tailor this. You know, I just have them there in my closet. But the first time I saw $1 million was a check that I had to deposit for him.
Wow.
He showed me right then and there. Like, money wasn't the issue. I didn't realize that my dad was rich until, like, we all were just sitting down. Like, the type of stuff that we had, other people didn't have. And but we thought we were poor. Like, me and my sisters and siblings. Well, we didn't think we were poor. We just felt like, dang, we can't have all the stuff that all my friends have. Like, they have game systems and Jordan. He didn't care about none of that. He cared about books. He was like, go play instruments. So he didn't care about all this extra stuff. My dad drove the same car. He had a 1992 4Runner that he bought for my mom. Mm-hmm. Then my mom bought a new car, a newer model Toyota Highlander. And he was like, oh, no, you're not going to trade that. I'm going to drive it. And he drove that 1992 4Runner. He got it repainted.
What?
And he got it repainted.
That wasn't his priority, though. His priority was not flash. Has that informed you on how you spend money or how you see money? How does that inform you how you see money now?
It's the same way for me. My dad, planted a seed, and not only me, all of us, all my siblings, pretty much think the same way. If it doesn't make money where it's going to be residual, I don't care about it. I'm looking at myself now, and I refuse to buy all my sneakers. I buy them at Ross.
Question: how many guitars do you have, though?
You'll be surprised. I'd actually downsized. I went down to
20.
no. I'm at about 5.
A modest 5.
A
5?
modest 5. But 2 of them was
For
for my
real?
dad. So I
Huh?
have 3. I have 2 electrics and 1 acoustic. I actually went down.
That's it?
Yeah, because I had kids.
Oh, okay. You selling?
You know, when you have kids, you sell instruments
It.
to buy
You
Pampers
sell them?
and,
Oh,
and stuff
God.
like that. Yeah. I
Gotta do
sold a
it.
lot of them because of daycare.
Woo!
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think
Daycare
that's
was
ever
good.
going to happen for me. I have 10 guitars. They ain't going nowhere.
So today's letter of the day is A for abstinence.
Abstinence.
Oh, wow.
If you
Like,
want to
cut
keep
it
your
out.
instruments, make sure you plan,
Make sure you
get
plan
married, make sure you have the money for children because children are expensive.
They are. They're
Extremely
expensive. Very
expensive.
expensive. How's it
And
like?
the more
D
you
was
have,
talking
the
about being
less
a
money
father.
and toys you're gonna have.
What kind of how many children do you have, and they're boys or girls? What are they, and how do you influence them in the way that your father influenced you, and you're bringing them up?
I have 4 kids. 3 that's mine, 1 that I adopted. Um, Everything I do without me knowing, um, I just had to sit down and like, man, yeah, my dad would have done that. It's just I've just been he's been teaching me all my life. So, you know, all those life lessons, they come out. You don't realize it until you become an adult yourself. And then you start looking at yourself and your kids. You know,
Mm.
like I'll look at the response my children would tell me, and I'm like, I said this very same thing 30 years ago when I was
Yeah.
9 years old. I looked at the same facial expressions, the same stuff. I'm looking and I'm like, so this is how my father was thinking, when he said that. And that's not only my dad, too, my mom as well. I, my mom was a woman that never really yelled. The roles were reversed. My dad was the one that would just talk, 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 talk. My mom would just, you know, Zoclo. Just that's all she knew. She's just gonna get
Oh,
punched in the
just,
face. And
just
when I got taller than her, I felt like that was a crime. Like I used to hunch my back.
Wow.
Like, cause mom was like, now, so you're hovering over me. You know. So
You think you better than me
oh,
now?
yeah.
you think you slick?
So you're
Oh.
you better than me. What? You bigger than me. Oh, you are too far. What? Yeah, that was my mom. My dad was taller than me, but my mom was like, I passed her at like 11, 12 years old. I was like, and she looked at me like, she made me like realize that that I'm still a child, and you better stay in
Oh,
your child
God.
place. Yeah,
Man, it gets tough. Yeah, man. I remember the first time I bucked up to my mom. It was over. It was over. My mom's from Belglade. She did not play.
Mm.
My dad was the one teaching the lessons. My dad was all man. I mean, like my dad was always the one teaching us the family part about it. Be
Right.
together, go do things, have what I'm saying, go experience things, learn different sports, learn different um disciplines, learn this, learn that. And my mom was always like school oriented. My mom was her
Yeah.
mission was get out of school. Finish school. That's what she wanted me to do. She wanted all of us to finish school, and we all did. And to her credit, man, I love my mom. And we're talking about, legacies right now. Now, will you and your father share a legacy of going to one of the greatest universities here in South Florida? I know you have a passion for your university, and I just want you to speak on some things that you want the world to know about Florida Memorial University.
Yeah. It's crazy that you brought that up. My dad was the one that introduced me to Florida Memorial. Um, when I was in high school, my plan was to play the saxophone. That was my plan. Plan was I'm gonna be a billionaire playing the saxophone. I didn't know how, I didn't know where it's gonna go, how it's gonna happen. All I know is I'm gonna play the saxophone, and that's all I cared about. It wasn't until my junior and senior year that I realized, like, look, okay, I'm probably have to go to college to get better. And my plan was to go to Bethune-Cookman. You know, I had Donovan Wells, I'll never forget that, came over, auditioned me, and gave me a full ride from me playing. And I was excited about that. And the person who helped me even start playing the saxophone when my uncle told me to play the sax, David Moore, in middle school, was a Bethune-Cookman alumni. So Cookman was just it. That's where I was going. And when I was heading to Bethune-Cookman, my grandmother, who I used to take care of, she fell ill. She got sick. And I was blessed for having a family structure that was truly like a village. Grandmother, grandfather, father, mother, aunts, uncles. Everyone was married. Like I didn't know about divorce, and I didn't realize I was a unicorn. Like this, and then all of their friends were married. So within the Haitian community, 9 times out of 10, you knew your dad. You know, your dad and your mom lived together. You know, you live within the that type of structure. So, you know, I was tasked since I was 5 years old to always be with my grandmother. So my grandmother had a very big, deep part in my life. And when she told me she was sick, she told me, I don't know if she did that as a trick, you know, but she told me, if I go out to Daytona and she dies without me being here, you know, that's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. Ooh. And I took that I took that. I was like, you know, okay, I hear it loud and clear. And I think I had 3 weeks before school started. I was like, okay, so I'm staying. I don't know where I'm gonna go. I guess I'll go to Miami-Dade. And my dad was like, well, you was going to HBCU, just go to another HBCU. I was like, what other HBCU? And he was like, there's another HBCU in Florida. I was like, FAMU's in Tallahassee, and I don't want to go there. He's like, no, you can go to Flomo. I was like, wait, that's in Miami? Like, what?
HBCU, this
Flomo before. That's in Miami? Like, yeah. He was like, where do you think that they used to have this Melton Mustafa festival? And he was like, oh, wait, that's Florida Memorial? Wait, I was like, no, that's not Flomo. My bad. That's not Flomo. That's Florida Memorial. That's another school. He's like, no, Flomo is Florida Memorial University. I was like, oh, okay, that's HBCU. All right. He's like, yeah, I went there. I went there in the 80s. It's a great school. You should go. So I was like, where is this school? And he was like, oh, it's right in Miami Gardens, not even that far. I was like, what? All these years? Like, why never? It's right here. Like, I could walk there. And he took me to the school, and the rest was history. I fell in love with the school my first semester. My plan was to look, I'm going to ride this out. I'm going to let my grandmother get good. And I'm like, look, now, grand, you know,
graduate, go.
I got to go to Daytona Beach now. You good now.
I'm going to school. I'm out of here.
But I'm out. I'm going back to school now. But I think my dad knew if I went to that school that I would click. It was a match made in heaven. Went there, met some great guys. First person I saw was Daryl Effort. I came in looking for, my ears sonically was getting ready for a 250-piece marching band. You know, I was getting ready to go and hang out with my good friend Mike Emmanuel, helping with the jazz band over there. And I came in to a pep band with 15 people and a flute player. You know,
Let me
so
ask you a
Humble
question.
beginnings.
humble
Like,
beginnings.
how profound is your college life at Florida Memorial affected your rest of your life? Because I'll tell you the truth, my time at Florida Memorial was like eye busting for me because I never saw any. I never saw like. I used to go to Miami-Dade for a while. I went to FIU music. Went to other universities, but I was just going there as a professional student, just going there just to learn and be in the jazz program. And then my dad was like, "You're a professional student." I was like, I had no intention of getting a degree. I was just going there to study with certain jazz musicians, going there to study in a jazz band. I was a forever student. And this guy he was a sax player. He might have been the guy you're talking about. He came and he recruited me from Miami-Dade to go to Florida Memorial. And then I went over there. But I'll tell you, I never saw Black doctors, people with doctorates, looking back, teaching back at me. That actually was profound to me because I was always seeing like white professors who were doctorates or somebody else. And I was like, wow, you got Black people who are teaching other Black people? To me, it was mind blowing. I mean, that whole experience is one of the best parts of my life that I can say.
Those people over there it was like a family.
Yeah.
You know, Nicole Yarlin was giving me gigs so that I can pay for my schooling. Melton Mustafa, I called him, that was like, you know, I might as well call him Papa Doc. That was like another father figure. This man used to give me life lessons.
Yeah.
You know, in between teaching me music, he was giving me life lessons, lessons that I took with me now, that I still live on, that still lives on with me now. Everyone that was there, even the friends that I made, are still lifelong friends. Um, I don't think I have one negative issue with Florida Memorial, with the exception of I just wish that it was cheaper. That was my
Don't we
it was
all?
just really, really expensive. Those student loans hurt. But outside of that, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at that school. I came in there as a sax player and left as a entrepreneur, musician, teacher, clinician, businessman. You know, um, there were just so many hidden um, jewels inside of me that I didn't even know was inside of me until I went to that school. You know, and in the historical, this was the first time I truly realized how significant um, Black people were in the world, not even in America, in the
Yes.
world.
Bro.
I was going to school with the number one jazz pan player in the world. Like, just used to go to lunch with him,
Hey.
hang out.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to people who were dealing with people that we looked up to. Like, I like Jaco Pastores. Didn't know that my professor used to play with him.
Wow.
You know, stuff like that, things like that. There were guys that were in school for probably 10 years because they would not come for the spring. And I was like, dang, man, we missed you in the spring. We only see you in the fall. Oh, yeah, man, I was on tour.
Yeah.
I was on tour with the Dream or whatever. I was on tour doing stuff like that. And these guys are lifelong friends now. Like, still hang out with them, still learn from them, still watch them doing great things. And that's just the musical aspect, the musical friends. I have friends that are doctors. Like, I there was a girl, a tall girl, who I used to always see hang around, blah blah blah. 4 or 5 years ago, she was listed as the number one um, black biologist in the world.
Wow.
And I'm remembering her as that girl that we used to just hang out at the lunch in the caf together.
Wow.
You know,
It's power. It's power in the HBCU, man.
Yeah.
power.
Power.
That's why I go so hard for it,
Yeah.
especially my school.
I think an experience that every person who happens to be Black or African American should have. Like, I don't think there's an experience that's like that. If you go to another school, I think a lot of those other schools, they kind of have, like you said, it's more like a family when you come to HSBCU. And if you go to another university, it's just going to be like, it would have been, for me, it would have been just like going to Miami-Dade. It would have been the same thing, the faceless thing.
Correct.
I would have got a degree and I would have left. I would have made friends, but it wouldn't have been, it was more of an experience that I had there. Like, even, I didn't even know, just us all being alumni at Florida Memorial, I was in a different era. I was in the era where Pinkston and you know, Mustafa came in at the beginning. Like, I became at the beginning of the music department was starting, which was like the best thing. Like, you go through the hallway and people were singing in the hallway. People were practicing, and it was like buzzing all the time. It was like a hotbed of music. It was like, they have certain areas in certain cities. It was always music going on there all the time. You go in the one of the large auditorium, the band would be going here. You go to the church, they'd have the choir going there. You could just go anywhere and just find good music, and people were coming from across the country to come over there, like from Texas, other places like the Bahamas for the pan stuff. Man, it was a dope place to be, man.
You'll be surprised, man. That's me and Daryl's era. That's the same era we had.
Really,
as a matter of fact, I think
y'all got to travel. I'm so
there was
mad.
something.
We never got to do no traveling. We
had
didn't travel no gas there. We went to Georgia. Man. We went to Atlanta. Y'all going to Spain.
Oh yeah, Germany.
Oh, bro,
Brazil,
Spain, Germany,
Japan.
Manhattan. The ambassador crowd went to Manhattan,
we were going
bro.
everywhere.
We was going everywhere, bro. The choir and the pan
everywhere.
On a road trip to New York.
They were. They even did something. They did something as an experiment, because Melton Mustafa used to tell us that Doc used to tell us, for the jazz, jazz studies majors, you have to go to Mecca. Mecca in the jazz world is New York. And he was like, you got to go to New York. You got to go play in the Village. And I did that. But what they ended up doing was they created the Village at Florida Memorial with this thing called Sweet Tuesday. This guy named Leon Foster Thomas, a great keyboard piano player named Chris Cadenhead, Mark Strobridge, and Miss Yarlin. They formed something called Sweet Tuesdays, where people from UM, there were people from Miami-Dade jazz program coming down, and we would every Tuesday be chopping up with, and just professional musicians coming up. You're learning new licks, chopping up. I was going in the bathroom practicing my line just for us before I go on the stage. Like, and there's other saxophone players there, other trumpet players there. Like, it was probably the fastest musical growth that I experienced during that time.
Yeah, Dirk, bro, you missed Sweet. You missed Sweet Tuesdays, bro.
I missed it, man.
That was
Sweet Tuesday would have took you to a whole nother level.
Sweet Tuesdays, the pan ensemble, bro.
The pan ensemble,
world renowned.
They were
when they were there when we were there, it was different, bro. But yeah, they played all
hard.
There were different types of musicians.
Hours upon hours.
They were out there like in the middle of the night, bro. Play pan till they have to leave. Like, it's some of the. blew my mind the way that little lady
Yeah.
Don Batson got
Yeah.
them to practice
Dr.
Dr.
all
Babs.
the
Don Batson. Yeah.
time.
Shout out to Don Batson.
She had that group going like a sewing machine. You hear me? It was
Man,
crazy.
man, she failed me with a smile on her face.
That's
I'm sorry,
everybody's
baby.
testimony.
Quick.
I tell you in a
I
heartbeat.
remember she told me,
And
she
she
was like,
put a smile
Will,
on her face and be so sweet about it. I'm sorry,
she
baby, but
was
I'm
like,
giving you an
Will,
F. It was
you're
some
gonna,
printer issue or
you should
something that
practice.
messed up. You know, you remember you used to have those discs, and if you took it out too quick, right, then it wouldn't have all the information on it. Y'all, you remember the floppy disks?
Oh, floppy disk, bro.
And if
You
you didn't
know,
save
Yeah.
it properly, it would
you
You
erase
were
gotta
half
wait
your.
till it saves.
You know what I'm saying? I used to take it out before. I never knew that. I would take it out. It would erase half the stuff. And I remember I had to get in the thing. I told her, she's like, "I'm sorry, baby. I got to give you an F." She didn't care.
With no issues.
no. She had no problem.
Try. You know what? Come back next semester. You can do better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No issue.
tell you real quick. Smiles and all.
Smiles and
That,
all.
Those were the best times of my life, and I thank my dad for that, for allowing me to experience what he experienced when he went to an HBCU. I there was a when I was working a small stint of time um at for child support as a court reporter. There was a clerk. He was an Asian clerk, and we had something called the man cave, where there was like the bailiff, the black bailiff. We would all go into, um, I think it was courtroom 2-4. And there was a black judge there. Her name was GM Howard. And we would just be talking about just the plight of the black man and how we can do better. Um, y'all can hear me? I'm
yeah.
sorry
Yeah.
if I'm going choppy. And this Asian man said something so crazy, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, you know what? Dang, that's not a bad idea. He was like, I don't think we can ever give black people reparation. Not in the sense that we could give, because it's too complex. We don't know which black people can receive it. But I was like, there's a way that I feel that we could give black people reparation.
Take away taxes.
And hello?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah. Why
Y'all
not
good?
take away taxes?
He said, well, what he told me was like, I think the best way to give black people reparation is by allowing them to get any college degree for free.
Mm.
And they not only can they get their degree for free, they're allowed to go to all HBCUs for free. And I was like, that's crazy. Why would you do that? Why do you think that would help us? He was like, you can always tell a difference between a black person that went to a HBCU and a black person that went to a regular white school. I think I lost y'all.
What's the difference?
No, you good. What's the difference?
Hold
Yeah,
on.
what's the difference?
Yeah, my laptop is gone. But anyway, he was like, the best way you can do it. Hold on. Let me try again. He said that the difference is that the black people that went to the HBCUs have a sense of pride in their work. He was like, they believe in everything they do, and they it's like they're doing something beyond themselves. He was like, look at you. You're a court reporter. None of the other court reporters wear suits except you.
Mm.
He was like, I could tell you went to HBCU. I was like, wow.
Interesting.
He was like, look at this bailiff. The bailiff went to a HBCU. He went to Morehouse. He's like, look at GM Howard. GM Howard went to a HBCU. He's like, look at all of you here. And you guys didn't even realize that you all went to a HBCU. I was like, wow. He's
I
like,
think it
this
gives
is
you
how,
pride.
Yeah, it's like it's
It's
Wakanda.
still pride in you.
It's Wakanda. It's
Yeah, it's
truly
Wakanda.
where
Yeah,
you go to learn about yourself
true.
Mm.
with people that looks like you.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone that has that experience
Mhm.
um should enjoy it. And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. He was like, if every black person was to go to an HBCU, I think that would be better than reparation because what you would produce as a
Mhm.
community
Hmm.
would
Yeah.
make it where the money that your community would be making
Mm.
would be more than what you would spend
True.
at with reparation. He was like, because I can give you $100. All you're gonna, but if you
Mm.
don't know what to do with it, you're just gonna spend it. But if I
True.
teach you, you go somewhere and you take that $100 and you learn how to multiply it and make 1,000, then 10,000,
Mm.
then 100,000, then 1,000,000. That's better than me just giving you $100, right? And we
Yeah,
all
because you
just
teach
looked at him
you how
like,
to fish
dang, yeah. He was
instead of
like,
just
that's what
catching it.
HBCUs do. He literally said that that's what HBCUs do to black people. It teaches you guys how to learn how to fish. Because he was like, look at everyone here.
Mm.
Everyone here is successful. Everyone here has a plan. And all of you
Mm.
guys went to HBCU. All you guys graduated from a college. He's like, imagine if the entire community prioritized that. And
Mm.
if they were to push the government to make it where all black people can go to all college for free or at a reduced rate, and if they choose to or elect to go to a HBCU, it's free. He was like, that would be better, and I think that would be something that I think every person in America will buy into
You
Man,
know,
we
because
the
I'm sorry, what was
interesting
that?
thing to me is that today they celebrated the Holocaust, right?
Yes,
Holocaust only lasted 7 years. The whole slavery thing was like 400 years. Like, where is our celebration about that? You know what I'm saying? Where is our, like, our, we get a month to do something about it, but where is there the celebration where all these dignitaries are coming together and it's on CNN and they have a whole country based out of that, right? Where is our recognition of what has gone through? I think America doesn't want to deal with that ever. Like, other
I
countries
blame us
actually
for
deal
that.
with it.
I
Huh?
blame us for that.
That's
I
also to
blame us
us
for
not
that.
even deciding to forget about it because
It's
we want
not
to
that
assimilate.
we not
We
care
lost
about it as much
right.
as the people in the Holocaust.
it. Mhm.
Bro, if you can hear us, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can hear
But
you, man. We lost
That's
you,
the
bro.
difference. And
okay, there we go.
it's
Okay.
past 400 years for Jamaicans. It
Mhm.
depends where islands, the different parts of Africa, the
True.
different parts of America you lived in. Because remember, the slaves that was in Texas were the last ones that were slaves, and everybody else was free. Juneteenth.
That's
So
terrible.
they like, yeah, like that. Just tell the thing about us is as a people is we're fractured, and I don't know if that's
Mm.
by design.
I
Um,
think so.
we're we're fractured. We don't have a concrete goal anymore. We
No,
used to.
Exactly.
We don't have a
no.
concrete goal anymore, and now we're just
We're just
and
flying
we
in the wind.
allow too many other demographics to come into our space
Hmm.
True.
and take over, and then they use us, and then they just run off without us.
I think we're victims to history more so, and that's why we don't get to celebrate it as much as oh, what is that? That's why we don't get to celebrate it as much as everybody else because we I think there's a difference between the Holocaust and slavery.
Mm.
Slavery has been around for
Ever.
since ever.
Yeah.
We got lumped into something that just was a norm to most of the world.
True.
And then on top of that, it was so spread out. We got dropped off in Jamaica. We got dropped off in Trinidad. We got dropped off in Haiti. We got dropped off in South America. And then everybody that had some type of foot to put on our neck decided to do it. The French, the Germans, everybody is we got lumped into it being it was more of a business. The Holocaust, I believe, was just straight hate. It was complete hate. It's not an excuse for it to be celebrated more, but we got washed away in just that word right there, slavery. Like
True.
we can go to our Bible. Slavery's in there.
True.
You know what I'm saying? It's so historic to the point where we haven't. I feel like until we get to where Martin Luther King was before he died,
True.
which was finding out that it's about this money.
It's about this
It's
money. It's all
really
about
about the
money.
power.
It's
It's
about
really about
money
the
and power.
power before you can change too much
Yeah.
of what's going on. Like I want equal rights. I want to be around you and your people. When we had our own stuff, they had to come and burn it. That's how powerful it was. We had our
Yeah.
own cities. They had to come and knock it down. They're turning it into a whole like situation. Like, oh my god, bro. It's just I just feel like I don't feel like they can ever compare the two struggles, and I don't think we can win that battle that way until we're in charge of the media.
But that's the thing, though. Like, the difference between the Holocaust victims and the slavery victims is that the Holocaust victims made sure that they got in powerful positions to force everyone to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge the Holocaust.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
don't do that.
We
You
don't
got
do
We
that.
don't
forced.
treat
You got
the
forced to
difference
watch that
between
TTT.
I was talking to a Jewish man, good friend of mine. His name is Todd. And he runs this company called Celebrity Entertainment, which I work for almost every weekend. And we were talking. He was like, "See, the difference between the Jewish people and the black people is this." He was like, "When you went to college, what did your dad tell you?" And I was like, "Man, I'm different, man. My dad was like, man, I don't care what you do. You could play music, you do whatever you want, but you got to learn business too." And he was like, "Oh, so your dad thought like a Jew?" And I was like, "How so?" He was like, "See, when you're a Jewish person, being a doctor is normal. Being a lawyer is normal.
Yeah.
Being an engineer is normal. That's what you're supposed to do. You
True.
like he was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's
it's not
ingrained.
only that." He was like, "Now
Distinct.
what?" He was like, "Part two of that is once you become a doctor, you got to be the top doctor because our community needs you for those connections. Because once you're the top doctor, then the next door neighbor who's a Jew, his son is going to go up the ranks. He needs to make sure that he gets a position at one of your regional hospitals." And that's how they're so rich. They keep everything within their own selves because if I'm in the music industry, okay, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be the top A&R rep. I'm going to make sure that when I go back into my community, I'm going to get 10, 15 more people that can do the same thing that's going to be right under me. That's why it seems like, man, every news network, every recording studio, everything is ran by one group of people. How so? And they're a minority.
And you know why also too? Because remember in Nazi Germany, the Mr. Propaganda was controlling the whole narrative of media. That influenced a lot of the reason why they were also persecuted, because controlling the media controls the narrative means you control how people think. And so Now, if you learn how to control how people think and control the media, you never let it turn against you anymore. You're controlling. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. It's a safety measure. It's to deal with the insecurity of somebody saying, "Hey, we want to start killing these individuals or segmenting these type of individuals based on their race or color or creed or culture." But if we control it, no one's able to do that.
But see, that just shows you also the power of the Jewish community. The
Yes.
reason why they were targeted by the Germany or the Nazis is because after World War One, the German mark was doo-doo. It was worthless.
I know.
But the Jewish people were still rich.
They were still
Their
prosperous.
community was still thriving.
Yeah.
So that's why it was so easy to turn against them, because they can then say, "Oh, you guys sold us out." They were easy. They're the only ones that were still eating.
Yeah.
And it's because of the philosophies that they have of this community. It doesn't matter where they are. That's why everybody hated them. They didn't hate them because they were Jews. They hated them because anywhere they go, they're
They
always
prosper.
successful. They come in,
Yeah. They prosper.
even in Haiti,
Mm.
believe it or not. In Haiti, we started during the World War II. Our president, I think his president at that time was Estima. I might be wrong. But the president of Haiti at that time said that Haiti can be a safe haven for Jewish people to come to our country.
Mm-hmm.
They came into the country and then they became the ruling class.
Mm.
They became the richest people in Haiti till this day.
Mm.
The Boulos, like the Maxen, the Boulos, they were Palestinian and German Jews.
Mm.
That's what the rich people who still to this day, there's 10 families to this day that still runs Haiti.
I did not know
Runs
that was a
everything right.
problem in Haiti. And so I had a friend of mine who's half Palestinian, half Haitian. And he's like, that's a thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, really? I was like,
Yeah, it's a
no,
thing.
I didn't know it was a thing. I was like, because he's half Syrian, half Haitian.
Yeah.
He looks like he's Syrian, but he's Haitian. So
And they're Haitian. Like Haitian. They eat all of their culture. Hey, because remember, the Haitian Constitution says that we're one people. So their passport is gonna say black. That's something else
Mm.
too. That was the way that we did away with racism. We did away with racism because if you're born in Haiti, there is no white Haitian or Asian Haitian. You're just Haitian. You're black.
Mm-hmm.
All people are black in Haiti. So if they can have white, blonde hair, blue eye, their passport is going to say black.
interesting.
Very.
That's part of our constitution. Our founders thought of that. They were like, that's the only way that we can get the French that stayed to buy in, because there were French that didn't like France.
Mm.
There were French people. They were sent to Haiti probably as prisoners or and that's what they did. They was like, okay, we don't want to have a divided front because then we'll have to keep fighting these white people that's on the island. So what do? You're not white no more. You're black. So when the Jews came in, the same thing happened. They came in and they didn't have a country. So they were like, yeah, their kids started, whoever was born in Haiti, their passport and everything would say black, negro or neg. So yeah, that's why some of them don't even consider themselves as white or Syrian or all of these things, these concepts, they got them when they came to America. In Haiti, they would just regular Haitians. They might be light skinned Haitians or whatever, but they're Haitian. At my accounting firm, right next door, literally next door, there's a bakery. And that bakery, the family of that bakery, good friends of ours, they're the Boulos. And the Boulos, their family were Palestine. I believe they're Palestine Jews that came, or Syrians that came, like, and their family can trace themselves back to like the late 1800s, early 1900s to this day, and their last names, they just carried it on. And now they some of the family is in America, some of them are in Canada, and they have these huge mansions in Haiti that look like castles. So yeah, that's just how it is. But it just shows you how we can become like that. We're like the complete opposite of the Jews. We
Mm,
don't care about community. We just care about ourselves. Jewish people, everything is community. Everything is community. So if I am an accountant, I'm going to make sure that all of my Jewish brothers, they get a discount with me. And all of the Jewish brothers are going to make sure they go to Joseph's spot. I'm going to make sure we're going over here to do all of my accountant needs. And if I'm a doctor, all of our kids are going to that doctor because that's a Jew and we're going to stick together. And if my son wants to be a doctor, I'm going to send him to learn from, that doctor. And then that's how you grow a community, where the community becomes so large and so prosperous that no matter what inflation, no matter what, they're always going to be rich. And that's why they've always been targeted. They've always been targeted because nobody else, when everybody was like, man, what is going on here? Why are we broke?
right.
Why? How come we're broke and they're still
You
rich?
always come over here to be broke.
Come all the way over here, and you're still gonna be broke because somebody else is working and being communicative and talking with their neighbor and making sure that they all good. Why are they so great? Because they're not separated. They're not sitting up here talking about why everybody else has so much other stuff. Like, I know when they open up something, they go there for the next 30 days. They're eating there.
Everybody.
Everybody goes there for the next 30 days when they open something, bro.
Yeah.
And they live all in the same
And
community.
live all in the same community. They decided they're stronger together. And we're stronger together on this podcast. I got one more question for you, bro. Because I know we done went into the history, we done went into the future, we done went
Everything, bro.
yeah. I just want to know, like, real quick before we end, like, right on this last one, because this podcast is going so many places. I need to know: are there any charities, events, or anything that people could help out? Any causes that you have that you want people to know about? And then we're gonna wrap it up.
Most definitely. The number one charity that I am pushing to everyone is the Florida Memorial Lions Roar Music Department uh, Music Booster Club. We have a fairly new marching band. Um, we have, I believe, about 120 kids. But once again, Florida Memorial is a private institution, so it's very pricey, and it's hard to get all of these kids to make sure they clear the office, the business office, and all that other stuff. And sometimes we get a couple of them that just can't, and they have to quit, which is a problem. So I started a non-for-profit with some other great people so that we can raise money, make sure that we keep these kids in school, and not only keep them in school, make sure that they thrive and they become great citizens within our community. I want them to graduate and become teachers and engineers and doctors and everything that we need within not only Miami Gardens, but the state of Florida and around the world. So we really, really, really want everybody to donate and give whatever they can so that we can get as many kids as possible to go to Florida Memorial and graduate and become great.
Okay,
Okay,
awesome.
awesome.
How do we give How do we give?
Well, right now, the fastest and most easiest way to do it is through Cash App. That's FMU. I believe it's FMU NBC. That's our Cash App handle. So $ FMU NBC. 1879. Let me just make sure. It's so many different ones. We also have a Zelle. The Cash App is, let me make sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's definitely that. It's FMU NBC. $ FMU NBC. That is the number one way. We're working on making sure that we have some other digital platforms that can help expedite and make it easier for people to send money to us. But right now, that's the best way. The other way too is to just you can go on fmuniv.edu. And there is a giving section where you can donate to the band or donate to the school. That's what I feel. I feel like the same thing that we all got from Florida Memorial, I want that to happen for our entire community. We want people to become like us. I know each one of you gentlemen, you guys are fairly successful and great people within the community. And I just want to replicate that. And I want to give some other kids that opportunity to get that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry, what was that?
What do you say?
I said any words?
I just want to be Will for coming on here, man. A couple years ago, Will was part of the staff at my Taylor Academy. He taught me sax for like a couple months, and we had so many kids in there, man. I have a picture with Will, like with 20, 30 kids surrounding him. I think that is like the most proud moment of one of my lives. It's just seeing is one of the things I always wanted to do is give back to somebody who didn't do that for me. Because when I went to Canada, when I tried to get in the music program, they said, "Oh, you can't get in." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to try to create something that I can give our children the opportunity, all children the opportunity to be able to have exposed to music and musicians." And so I just want to thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate you for coming on.
Bro,
I'm glad I was able to come in.
Bro, it's been like the best right now. I'm not going too deep into it because I there's too much to say about this brother. We're gonna go into another podcast, and then it's this the our family trees.
Not the same. Yup.
When I tell you, it's time to end this podcast. I could go for another 2 or 3 days talking about Wilmayer. I just want you to know you're awesome. PCMT, you're awesome. God, thank you for being the awesomest. And we're just gonna slide up out of here. And if you don't know, now you know. It's the Next Level Nation podcast, y'all.
Deuces.
Check us out. Deuces. Yeah.